Hi, everyone, and welcome to Career Pivots and Second Acts, the ultimate telesummit for your mid-career transition. I'm your host, Tajan B. Renderis, and it's my honor to introduce you all to Shannon O'Brien. Now, after 7 years of working at Harvard and MIT, Shannon left academia to pursue her own life strategy and career consultancy firm called Whole You. And she helps clients find new opportunities, joy, and fulfillment while achieving their career and life goals. Shannon got a master's degree in Tokyo, Japan, as well as a master's in education in technology, innovation, and education from Harvard University. Shannon, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Tajan. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Likewise. So today we're actually going to talk specifically about the unique concerns that mid-career transitioners have as it relates to networking. So that's our topic for today. And with that, I'll start with the first question, which is, how should a mid-career transitioner's networking strategy look different from an entry-level professional?
I think that it will likely look different because as we go along in our career, as we go along in our lives, we accrue more relationships and meet more people. So therefore we have more people to draw upon, so to speak, or connect with. Mm-hmm. However, I think that the task of connecting with someone or networking should stay the same no matter what age you are, what stage you are in your career. I think that networking is an essential, crucial aspect of our career search. And so reaching out to as many people as you can to support you, to support your candidacy, and to learn more about different jobs and industries is always, like I said, just a crucial part of your job search or career exploration. So I think that the only thing that changes is probably the amount of contacts that you accrue over time. Mm-hmm. And maybe also, hopefully, your familiarity and your comfort level with reaching out to people. Although I'm so surprised that people are so nervous to reach out to people. And so I always encourage people to try to move beyond that fear. And maybe we'll dive into that a little bit as well.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly where we were going to go. So following on that, what strategies do you recommend to remove the ickiness factor that surrounds networking for a lot of people, particularly introverts?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that what I've observed is that we have a problem advocating for ourselves. But if it was for a friend or someone else, we would feel like, yeah, of course, you have to hire her or hire him. She's fantastic. He's fantastic. And we do a great job of being an advocate or a cheerleader for other people, our friends, our family. But when it comes to ourselves, that's when the ickiness comes in. And I think it has to do with a problem receiving or asking for help. And that's just a human, psychology type of thing that we need to work through. So I think part of the way, part of overcoming this ickiness and this fear is to think of what you're really doing when you're networking. You are looking for a job or a position or an opportunity or a project or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And you're actually... It's a triple win. It's a win for everybody. There is an opening or a job that's perfect for you. And the people that are looking for someone to fill this role are looking for you. So it's almost changing your mindset to that you're doing a disservice or you're stealing or robbing from people, like taking away the opportunity or the chance to be introduced to you and to learn about your skills and your strengths and all that you bring to the table. And maybe you're the exact match. So I think changing your mindset to say, I'm networking in order to find the perfect fit for me. And they're looking for me as well. I think that recruiting agencies and firms spend a lot of time, energy, and effort in finding the right candidates. So I think that just to change your mindset, it's not an icky task. You're just trying to help other people make it much easier to find you. So as much as you can reach out to your network and ask questions and try to get closer to those positions that would be a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm. And, I think that mindset shift definitely helps the introvert, or, the person who's just feeling like they're, look at me, I'm, like they're showcasing in a way, and that feels like arrogant. I think some folks struggle with that, even in interviewing also.
Yeah, but the thing is there, if you're not going to be your own best advocate, who is going to do it? And especially in an interview situation, you don't have anybody there. It's just you. So it's kind of sink or swim, to learn how to thrive in those situations. And you don't need to sound too boastful, but, you just need to communicate that you are a fit for the job, that you are qualified. And I think maybe another thing that would alleviate when we're talking about an interview situation or a networking situation, a networking conversation, is to just focus on enjoying the conversation. Focus on learning something new, rather than feeling this desperate vibe.
Right.
I think I'm meeting someone new. I'm learning something new. I'm expanding my mind. And ultimately, I think we probably fear rejection. That's what's really underneath all of this fear and ickiness. So just to say, you know what? I'm detached from the feeling of whether I'm going to be rejected or not.
Right.
Again, my intention going in is to learn more, to meet more people, and just to go in with that positive mindset.
Yeah. Have a great coffee with somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it ends up being a great fit and a great match or a prospect, then great. And if not, you've just learned something more about somebody else, and hopefully you can contribute or help that
Right.
person in some way. And that could be reciprocated for you at some point in time also.
Exactly. You raise a good point. Sometimes you don't know when lightning's going to strike and there's really going to be a connection, or you meet someone and then, okay, that was nice, but nothing really sparked in that particular meeting. But 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you remember them or they remember you. And it's just making these connections and these linkages, and you never really know when they're going to surface and be valuable.
Mm-hmm. Any tips on how folks should maintain those connections and relationships, like in your day-to-day life, or in realistic terms? Like, how do you continue to nurture?
Yeah, I was just talking to a client about that today, actually, and she said she tries to remember people's birthdays. And I think that's easy when you have Facebook or some sort of app, or you've scheduled into your, contacts, like getting a reminder of someone's birthday. And if you're close enough, saying, "Oh, I hope you enjoy your day," that's a typical one that people use.
Yeah.
I think that, what is ever natural, because we're all very busy.
Mm-hmm.
But being top of mind, and personally for my clients and other people who have sort of subscribed to my list, so to speak, I send out a message once a month, and I try to make it valuable. If once a month is too much for some people, then they should unsubscribe. I think that we're totally inundated with messages.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people have it weekly, sometimes people have it daily, which, it depends. I think some people want to hear from you that much and some people don't. So it really is just a matter of what your comfort level is. For me, checking in with friends, you've probably had the experience where you think of a friend and then they call you on the phone. There's something like M waves or something where we're all connected and thinking about each other. Yeah. So, if you think about someone and it occurs to you, then certainly get in contact with them.
Right.
And I have a wonderful friend. She moved to Germany, and there's these different technologies now. We're lucky, like WhatsApp and social media and email, that we can keep in touch more. But she's the type of person where she would, send a present every once in a while or send a handwritten note. So going out of your way to do something nice like that is obviously a really lovely, nice touch. Yeah. So it really just depends on your feeling, like being moved by the spirit sometimes.
Right. And I guess the other thing I'm kind of curious to hear your perspective on, for the clients that I work with in general, who are mid-career professionals, a lot of the next job that they're looking for usually is coming from networking, and coming from, there's often these lateral moves of like, I used to work for the government. I want to work as a consultant. I had, some connections there, and I kept in touch with those folks. And now now I can kind of transition. As I've been in touch with them, I've expressed that I'm looking, and then they found an opportunity. Has that been kind of, do you see a lot of that? And do you have any reflections around that?
Yeah, sometimes it does happen like that, and you've been working in a related field, and sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Sometimes it's like somebody standing in line at the grocery store, or your cousin's neighbor's sister's uncle. Like, sometimes it's very related, and sometimes it's completely unrelated. So I just invite clients to have their radar open, just to be open and never close themselves to an opportunity, and to practice saying, practice their elevator pitch, so to speak. Yeah, I'm making this transition from government to consulting, or vice versa, or whatever it is. And you get more comfortable speaking that intention yourself. And then they might be like, oh yeah, well, have you thought of this, that, or the other? When you speak to people, they share their knowledge if they are a helpful person. If they're not a helpful person, they'll just ignore you and talk about themselves. But if they're a helpful person, they might say, oh, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And then you're just making these connections and brainstorming with people. So yes, I agree with you that sometimes it's the contacts that you've accrued in your job or in your experience, but sometimes it's totally unrelated, and it might be friends or family. So not to discount those possibilities as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Shannon, do you think mid-career professionals should do informational interviewing? And if you do think so, what's the best way for them to structure them?
So yes, I think everybody should do informational interviewing, because I'm a believer in learning and lifelong learning and meeting new people and reaching out and learning something new every day. And you don't know who you'll learn something new from. So how to structure it, or a strategy around it, just as I said before, it's kind of, don't discount the person standing in line in the coffee shop, or like I was sitting in a coffee shop yesterday, and there was these two guys next to me talking about gaming, and like games and strategies. And it's something that I don't really know a lot about, but it's just really fascinating listening to them. And if I just got involved with a conversation about them, hey guys, like, how did you guys meet? Or what are you talking about? Or you just don't know when you would learn something new about their industry or what they're up to. And perhaps it would be related to consulting, or, working for the state, or whatever, you want to do as well. So taking an opportunity when you're interested in someone else, I think you mentioned this before, learning from them, giving an opportunity for them to speak about their experience. People like to talk about themselves for the most part, unless they are very, very shy or very, very introverted.
Yeah.
And so you give them a stage to reflect on their experience and what they learned. And then they might turn it back on you and ask questions about you. And then, obviously it's usually, how can they help you? That's usually what informational interviews, you learn the information, but hopefully they can either make a connection for you. That would be wonderful. Or they can recommend another person. Like, probably heard this as well, never leave a conversation without saying, is there anyone else that you think that I should talk to? This was a great chat, a great conversation, but can you introduce me or tell me about one or two other people that I could talk to?
Yeah, absolutely. Golden advice, Shannon. Thank you, especially for dispelling that myth that the whole notion of an informational interview is an entry-level type of career situation, a career move. It really isn't.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn. There's so many different industries, so many different people and backgrounds. There's just always so much to learn. And I think using your word, structured, of course we can chat and learn something about learn things about people in a casual way or a casual environment. But when you structure it and you kind of make it official, people, I would imagine, feel, oh, wow, this person really cares about me and is giving me a stage to talk. So I think, I think for the most part, people would be flattered that you're asking to learn more about them and their industry. And again, it's so, so important to do these informational interviews because you're researching something and going in eyes wide open, because oftentimes we think something might be glamorous or we think it might be a fit for us, a certain industry, but then we get into it and we're like, oh my gosh, this is not a fit for me at all. If I had just asked the right questions, I would have avoided this entirely. So being really smart and asking questions in a safe environment is, I think, is always a good idea to do that research in advance.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shannon. That's really helpful. So there's a lot more wisdom, insights, tips, advice, and technical assistance that you can provide to folks in our audience. Where would be the best way for folks to get in touch with you if they're wanting something more?
Yeah, I would love them to visit my website. It is wholeu.info, WHOLE, the letter U.info, like information. And then that links to my YouTube channel or Yelp or LinkedIn or whatever else they would want to learn more about.
All of those links and all those social media handles, websites, etc., all of that will be in the interview notes. So no need to worry about that for folks who are viewing and taking a look at this particular web page. I guess to recap, go out there, be confident. We strongly encourage you to get the support that you need if you're still struggling with the ickiness factor, even above and beyond, or trying to explain all of the reasons why and how you should let that go, and make sure that you're putting yourself out there, advocating for yourself. But oftentimes, some folks need additional support. So Shannon and several other coaches in the field can help give you what you need. Again, thank you, Shannon, for all your wisdom, all your advice in this particular session.
Thank you, Jean. I really appreciate you including me in the summit, and I hope that people take this information and do feel empowered and more confident to reach out and to ask for help and to receive help from other people, because chances are, just as you would like to help your friends or family or even a stranger that's going to approach you for help, chances are, I'm sure that they would want to help you just as much.
We end this particular session. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much.